The night my dad told me I take up space. Everyone laughed, my mom, my brothers, even my aunt visiting from out of town. Their laughter echoed in my chest like a crack I couldn't hide. That was the moment I realized something brutal. If I stayed, their words would swallow me whole. My name is Nora. And I remember the moment my world cracked open forever. It happened at dinner, the one night I wished I could erase from my mind. My dad leaned back in his chair, smirking like he was about to deliver something clever. He tapped his fork on his plate and said, "You know, Nora, you really take up too much space." The room went silent for one breath, and then everyone burst into laughter. My mom laughed. Liam laughed, Tyler laughed, even Aunt Carla laughed. Though she barely knew anything about me, I stared at my plate and felt my face burn. My dad's voice echoed in my head like a hammer. I whispered, "What does that even mean?" But nobody cared enough to answer. Liam elbowed Tyler and said, "Maybe she just eats too much." Tyler snorted and said, "Or maybe she's just everywhere at once." My mom waved them off and told them to behave. But she was still smiling. I forced a laugh so I wouldn't look weak, but the sound betrayed me. My dad noticed instantly. "Relax, Nora," he said, "it's just a joke." I wanted to scream, "Then why does it hurt?" But the words stayed trapped inside me. Instead I said, "Okay." Even though nothing about it was okay. Aunt Carla leaned forward and asked, "Are you really that sensitive?" I didn't know how to respond. My voice felt pinned to the floor. I finally whispered, "I'm fine," and pushed my food around my plate. My dad chuckled again. "See? Dramatic." Like always, something inside me twisted. "I'm not dramatic," I said, but my voice trembled. "There you go again," Liam said, "classic Nora." Tyler added. My mom sighed like I'd ruined something. "Can you stop creating tension? We're trying to eat." I felt like I wasn't even human to them, just some defective thing they tolerated. I kept hearing the labels they slapped on me for years. Sensitive, clingy, dramatic, too much. When dinner ended, I went upstairs without another word. "Don't stomp around the house." My dad called after me. I didn't answer. I walked into my room and closed the door gently, even though I wanted to slam it hard enough to break the frame. I sat on my bed and stared at the wall. My chest tightened. My eyes burned. I whispered, "Why do they hate me?" even though I knew they'd insist they did in single quotes. Tears spilled fast, hot, uncontrollable. I pressed my hands to my face as the sobs rolled through me. My mind replayed every moment I had ever tried to tell them how I felt. Every time they called me dramatic. Every time they rolled their eyes. Every time they treated my pain like a punchline. I remembered being 12 and hearing my dad tell my mom, "She's too emotional." I remembered my mom answering, "She'll grow out of it." But I didn't grow out of it. I just grew quieter. Curled up on my bed and whispered to myself, "I'm not too much." But even hearing my own voice made me doubt it. The dinner scene kept looping in my mind. The mocking voices, the laughter, the shame sitting in my stomach like a stone. A knock hit my door. "Nora," Liam said, "stop crying. Dad's getting annoyed." I didn't respond. Cold in single quotes. When he walked away, something strange flickered inside me, small, sharp, alive. It wasn't anger yet. It wasn't strength either. But it felt like the beginning of both. I whispered, "Do I really have to live like this?" The question terrified me. I'd never allowed myself to wonder about leaving. Leaving felt dramatic. Leaving felt ungrateful. Leaving felt impossible. But suddenly the idea pressed against the edges of my mind like a trapped bird trying to escape. I stared at my ceiling and imagined what it would feel like to breathe without being mocked. I imagined walking into a room without someone telling me I was too much, too loud, too emotional, too everything. I imagined being allowed to exist without proving my worth every second. For the first time in my life, the idea of leaving didn't sound ridiculous. It sounded like oxygen. I wiped my face and whispered, "Maybe I don't belong here." The room felt colder after I said it. Not because the air changed, but because the truth finally had a shape. Another memory rose, my dad telling me last month, "You're not built for real life, Nora." While everyone nodded like he'd spoken a fact, I'd laughed along then, but tonight the memory stabbed deeper. I sat up and whispered into my empty room, "What if they're wrong about me?" My voice felt fragile but real. I imagined a life far away. I imagined friends who didn't laugh at my pain. I imagined a job, an apartment, a place where I could talk without shrinking. I imagined being someone who didn't apologize for breathing. I felt the smallest spark of defiance flicker awake inside my chest. Maybe leaving wouldn't fix everything. Maybe it would break me more. But maybe, just maybe, it would save me. I pulled my knees to my chest and let out one more shaky breath. "I don't have to stay here forever," I whispered, and even though I had no plan, no courage, and no idea where I'd go, I felt something shift inside me. Their laughter didn't just bruise me tonight. It opened a door I had never seen before. And for the first time, I wondered what might happen if I dared to walk through it. I woke up the next morning hoping things would feel different, but the moment I walked into the kitchen, my dad smirked and said, "Careful. Everyone, Nora's about to take up the whole room again." I froze, then forced out, "Can you stop saying that?" He shrugged. "Why? It's true." My mom didn't even look up from her coffee. "You're too emotional again," she said. Liam laughed from behind her. "Maybe she needs a script to teach her how to talk like a normal person," Tyler added. "Her voice always sounds like she's about to cry." I snapped. "No, it doesn't." My dad pointed at me. "See, dramatic, every single time." I felt myself shrinking, but I muttered, "I'm just asking you to stop." He chuckled. "Then stop making it fun." I grabbed a piece of toast and whispered, "I'm going upstairs." My mom said, "Fine, but don't sulk. It's exhausting." I didn't answer. "In my room," I whispered. "Why am I the only one who sees what they're doing?" I opened my sketchbook, hoping drawing would calm me, but even my pencil felt heavy in my hand. A few days later I walked into the living room and my dad said loudly, Careful, everyone. She's back," Liam whispered to Tyler. "Brace yourselves," I said. "Why do you keep doing that?" He replied, "If you can't handle a joke, that's your problem." I walked away before I screamed. I spent most days hiding in my room, sketching, listening to music, pretending I was somewhere else. One afternoon, I heard my parents talking downstairs. My mom whispered, "She's applying to colleges again." My dad scoffed, "What a waste of time. She'll never amount to anything. She can't even handle a joke," my mom said. "She thinks she's smarter than she is." My stomach twisted. I felt like I'd been stabbed. I stepped down one stair and whispered, "You don't believe in me?" They turned toward me. My dad looked annoyed. "You're listening again," I said. "I wasn't trying to. I heard you." He folded his arms. "Good, maybe you'll finally understand how the world works." My voice shook. "You think I'm worthless?" My mom sighed. "Stop exaggerating. No one said that," I said. "You literally just did." My dad waved his hand. "We're being realistic. You're not strong enough for the life you imagine." I whispered, "I'm trying," he replied. "Trying isn't enough." Something snapped inside me. "I can't keep doing this." Liam walked in and said, "Doing what?" "Playing the victim," Tyler added. "She really can't go one day without drama." I turned to them. "I'm not being dramatic. I'm hurt." My dad shook his head. "No. You're choosing to be hurt." I felt my breath shaking. "Nothing I do is ever good enough for you." My mom said, "Then try harder." I stared at them, realizing nothing would ever change. I whispered, "I deserve better." My dad laughed. "Better, good luck." I ran to my room, slammed my door, and fell to the floor. I whispered, "I can't live here anymore." My hands shook. As I grabbed a backpack, I threw in clothes, sketchbooks, and the little cash I'd saved. My heart pounded. But the fear felt different this time, sharper, almost steady. I grabbed my phone and called Elena. She answered immediately. "Nora, what's wrong?" I choked out. "I need to leave. I can't stay here." She said, "Tell me what happened." I told her everything, the jokes, the insults, the conversation I overheard. She whispered, "Nora, they don't deserve you." I said, "I don't know where to go." She replied, "Come to me. My couch is yours. I'm not letting you go through this alone." I felt tears rising again. "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes, get here tonight. I'll stay awake until you arrive." That promise almost broke me. I whispered, "Thank you." She said, "You deserve better, Nora. You always have." I changed into jeans and a hoodie, tied my hair back, and stared at my room one last time. Then I opened my window, climbed onto the small porch roof, and dropped to the ground. My feet hit the grass softly. I whispered, "Don't look back." I walked down the street with my backpack bouncing against my spine. The cold air stung my face, but it felt clean, like I was breathing something new. My phone buzzed. Elena texted, "I'm waiting, drive safe." I typed back, "I'm coming." As I reached the corner, I heard my dad's voice echo in my mind, "She'll never amount to anything." I whispered, "Watch me," and then I kept walking, not turning around even once, not even when I heard the house door slam behind me. When Elena said, "Let's just leave Nora, Seattle, 3,000 miles, fresh start," I stared at her like she was joking, but she wasn't. I whispered, 3,000 miles. "That's insane." She nodded. "Maybe insane is what you need." I swallowed. "Do you really think I can do it?" She said. "I think you already did the hardest part. You left them." I whispered, "I don't feel brave." She shook her head. "Brave doesn't feel like anything, it just happens." We packed her small car with whatever we could carry. When she slammed the trunk, she grinned. "No turning back." I whispered, "I'm scared," she said, "then talk to me the whole way." During the drive, I admitted, I keep waiting for guilt to hit me, she said. Why should you feel guilty for saving yourself? I whispered. Because they're still my family. Elena tapped the steering wheel. Family doesn't get to destroy you and call it love. Somewhere in the middle of the country. She asked, do you regret leaving? I shook my head. No, I regret staying as long as I did. She smiled softly. That's growth, Nora. When we finally reached Seattle, the air smelled like rain and possibility. I whispered, it feels different here. Elena nudged me. It's because you get to exist now. Her distant relatives let us crash in their guest room. Over dinner, one of them asked, so what brings you both here? I hesitated, but Elena jumped in. New life, new work, new everything. I whispered, mostly I needed space. They smiled kindly. And I felt something strange. Safety. The next morning, Elena handed me a flyer. A cafe is hiring baristas. You want it? I stared at it. Do you think I can do it? She laughed. You think too little of yourself. Yes, you can. At the interview, the manager, Chloe, looked at me gently. Tell me why you want the job. I said, I want to build something for myself. She smiled. Honest. I like that. When she called later to say, you're hired, I almost cried out. My first shift was chaotic. I spilled milk twice. Chloe laughed kindly and said, it happens. Relax. I whispered, sorry. I'm used to everything being a problem. She looked at me carefully. Not here. You're safe too. Learn. During break, another coworker, Ben, said, you look like you're waiting for someone to yell at you. I blinked. Is it that obvious? He shrugged. I used to be like that too. I whispered. How did you fix it? He said. I realized the yelling wasn't about me. It was about them. His words hit something deep. We talked often after that. One day he said, you don't take up too much space. You take normal human space. I froze. Why would you say that? He asked. Should I not? I whispered. Someone used to say that to me, not kindly. He frowned. Well, let me rewrite it. You're allowed to be here. Those words stayed with me. Nights were harder. I'd lie awake and whisper, why does their laughter still hurt? Elena would answer through the dark, healing isn't instant. Don't rush yourself. Some nights I cried quietly. Some mornings I woke up panicked, thinking I'd made a mistake. But every day I showed up to work. Every day Chloe said, good morning, Nora, like I mattered. Every day Ben asked, ready to survive another shift? Like I was someone worth talking to. One evening after work, I whispered to Elena, I think I'm changing. She smiled. I've seen it happening. I asked, do you think I can actually build a life here? She said, you already are. I walked to my tiny studio apartment a week later. When I put the key in the door for the first time, I whispered, this is mine. The room was small, but it felt like freedom. Each week away from home felt like peeling off another layer of pain. Each day in Seattle felt like learning how to breathe again. For the first time in my life, I wasn't taking up too much space. I was finally allowed to exist. I was wiping tables at the cafe when my phone buzzed. Seeing Liam's name made my stomach twist. I answered cautiously, what's going on? His voice shook. Nora, Dad's business collapsed. Everything's a mess. I stayed silent, waiting. He added, Mom wants you to come home. She said you should be here for emotional support. I let out a slow breath. Why me? He hesitated. Because you're still family, I whispered. Family didn't treat me like one. He sighed. Dad's not doing well. He keeps saying he wishes things were different. I asked, different how? Liam whispered, he regrets the way he talked to you. My chest tightened. But not in the way it used to. I said, I'm not coming back. Liam sounded stunned. You're serious? I said, yes, I built a life here. I'm not walking back into pain. He whispered, Mom will be upset. I replied, she was upset when I existed. He didn't argue. Instead he said, I'm sorry, Nora, that surprised me. For what? He said, for laughing at you. For joining in. I didn't get it then. I answered softly, I know. When the call ended, I stood still, feeling something I'd never felt before. Calm, real calm. The kind that comes from choosing myself. A week later, I sat on my bed and took a picture of my tiny apartment. The sunlight on my plants, and my smile real and forced. Elena peeked in and asked, posting that? I nodded. Yeah, it's time. I uploaded it with the caption, my new life. Minutes later, a comment appeared. My dad wrote, proud of you. I stared at the screen and whispered, too late. Because I wasn't the girl who cried in her room anymore. I was someone whole, someone strong, someone free.